Alright, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. And give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ka, Kodash. Well, I can't do that, just because I'm not officially a part of GMS, but 8 salutations to the apostles and elders, GMS who rule well, And also, Shalom to the line, Shalom, which means peace unto those who don't, peace unto you for those who don't know yet. But anyways, Shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. I hope this video is edifying to y'all. Doing this to edify and warn y'all. But anyways, got this article up from the NY Post. Trump orders review to identify, punish, and deport S, what it says, including students on visas. Washington President Trump signed an executive order Wednesday instructing federal agencies to identify, quote-unquote, all civil and criminal authorities available to combat the anti-S, including finding ways to deport JOO, to the ish activists who violated laws. The order, first reported by the Post, requires agency and department leaders to provide the White House with recommendations within 60 days and outlines plans for the Justice Department to investigate so-called pro-Hamas, right? What I'm saying? Graffiti and intimidation, including on college campuses, quote-unquote, J to the O to the O to the ish. You know what I'm saying? Students have faced a unrelenting barrage of discrimination, denial of access to campus common areas and facilities, including libraries and classrooms, and intimidation, harassment, and physical threats and assault, quote-unquote, the order says, which is, complete cap, but, it's what they're saying, quote-unquote. It shall be the policy of the U.S. to combat S-word, whatever they call that, vigorously, using all available and appropriate legal tools to prosecute, remove, or otherwise hold to account the perpetrators of unlawful S-word, what it says, harassment and violence, what they call that, of course, quote unquote. The executive order calls for the deportation of resident aliens, including students with visas, who broke laws as part of so-called state of, it is real, protests following the October 7, 2023, that event, that them so-called T attacks that sparked the invasion of Gaza. The quote unquote, so that's like a new 9/11 they use it. Keep that in mind. Quote unquote, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Education, and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall include in their reports recommendations for familiarizing institutions of higher education with the grounds for inadmissibility under 8 U.S.C. 1182, parentheses A, parentheses 3, so that such institutions may monitor for and report activities by alien students and staff relevant to those grounds, and for ensuring that such reports about aliens lead as appropriate and consistent with applicable law, which that just means foreign, to investigations, and if more actions to remove such aliens, quote unquote, the order says. So basically, if you is not a citizen officially of the U.S., they could even like target you for deportation just because you protest the so-called what the so-called state of Israel is doing in Gaza, basically, which they are calling anti-is. And of course, emotions get involved, so people get a little rowdy. But it's going after them protesters. But ain't but that's I'm gonna read further because they going after that freedom of speech that y'all supposed to have, right? Well, they going after it. The Constitution is just a piece of paper to them. You're gonna find that out. I'm gonna keep reading. 6 Republican-led House committees issued a report last month calling for the federal government to do more to address, the anti-ism, excuse me, including by conditioning federal aid to colleges to force stricter policies against J to the O to the O to the ish bias. So now it's going further to that. So basically, you can't even protest these motherfuckers. Their report focused heavily on Columbia University. Of course it did. The site of a large encampment that featured many documented instances of what they call anti J to the O to the O to the ish remarks against both pro so-called state of Israel activists and J to the O to the O to the ish students, and noted that allegedly permissive colleges took in $2.7 billion in federal funds in fiscal year 2023. So that, what are they calling that? And they calling it that, but it's even small hats, which are the J to the O to the O, to the ish, another name for them, another title, that have come out against, the policies of the of the so-called state of Israel, which they're not, the ones, they're not the people, which is why we say so-called. They don't fit the prophecies and, descriptions, including the curses of Deuteronomy 28, which are prophecies because they did come to pass as well. Some dude on X, try to claim their curses, not prophecies. Well, our people, went off. So them curses, they came to pass like prophecies. So in a way, they are prophecies. But anyways, they don't fit none of that. Don't tell me about the whole that hoax, because that shit was hyped up. That shit was, the numbers was jacked up like the plan demic numbers were, they were hyped up as well. They keep changing them because they keep discovering that it wasn't that much, and it's a whole lot of details, a whole lot of holes in that story, of course, so that they could play victim and take the land. But let me keep going. Basically they are putting financial pressure also on these colleges to basically clamp down on anti so-called state of Israel protests, man, which are happening because the so-called state of Israel is committing acts of basically ethnic cleansing and shit, like that in Gaza and the West Bank, even they even trying to go into other countries like Syria, Lebanon, even starting shit with Egypt at this point, man. They've been out of pocket. But anyways, the State Department and Department of Homeland Security under President Joe Biden stonewalled records, and they're getting more out of pocket now that their boy Trump is back. You know, he's basically well, we call him not a Jew. You know, Bibi. You know, Prime Minister. Call him not a Jew because he's not a Jew. But you know, he's basically his BFF. You know, slash butt buddy. You know, but he's back, and now you know, they basically the so-called state of Israel and the small hats, they licking their chops, man. But anyways, the State Department and Department of hey, they going after you tribes too as well. I'm gonna bring that up. But the State Department and Department of Homeland Security under President Joe Biden stonewalled records requests about the number of visa holders among those protesters. The House GOP report said. You know, which, of course, man, of course. But because Biden wasn't, you know, basically Biden wasn't doing enough for, you know, here domestically for the so-called state of Israel, you know. Basically. Now they got their boy Trump in, you know. He was doing a lot for them, which is why they was calling him, what they was calling him. You know, G, you know, Side Joe, you know. But you know, Trump, Trump is on fire for, you know, these small hats, you know. He's not a Jew's BFF, like I said. But anyways, they love him over there. The small hats in the land love him. Even got shit named after him, you know, like Trump Heights. Look that up. But anyways, Trump as a candidate called for deporting pro-Hamas students, you know what I'm saying, who are in the U.S. on visas, and last week signed a different executive order that seems to hint at steps towards that goal. That order contained a passage that called for the U.S. to, quote-unquote, ensure that admitted aliens and aliens otherwise already present in the U.S., quote-unquote, do not, quote-unquote, support designated foreign terrorists, quote-unquote. So anyone that they call a terrorist, keep that in mind, you know. Though the intended effect of the wording was not immediately clear. So if you were labeled that, you know, and or if an organization is labeled that, and you happen to support or show sympathy in any sort of way for that organization, you know, you are subject to that executive order. You are under the bullseye. But anyways, yeah, and it shows, you know, the pro-Palestine, you know, protests confront, you know, the you know, so-called State of Israel advocates during a Day of Rage rally in March and June 10, 2024 in New York City. Well, look back to what was going on, you know, that's why that was going on. But, you know, it is what it is, you know. You know, them Ishmaelites, you know, they Ishmaelites ain't not Palestinians either, you know. They don't belong in the land either. The real Israelites do. But neither of those people belong there, and they're fighting over the land. But the small hats got the choice parts, you know, basically, and they're trying to take more. Which the small hats, they would be the biblical Edomites of the tribe of Amalek, by the way. You know, they got the fatness of the earth over there and around the world. But anyways, hey, they got the bulk of it among these Edomites, which is why even these regular Edomites, you know, don't really fuck with them. You know, it's regular so-called white people that are Esau, you know, that come from Esau, the first so-called white man, you know. Even a lot of them are starting to hate him, you know, because they're demons to their own people. But basically, college, hey, he's a niggard at the table, right? Look up, a niggard is basically someone who's greedy, you know, and stingy. When you look into it, and that's Amalek. But anyways, college presidents summoned to Congress in December 2023 and famously refused to say if calling for the G-side, which they call that a, I'm gonna start saying, peace dying, from river to the sea is gonna be free. They say that that's G-side, calling for G-side of the JOO, to the ish, constituted punishable conduct under grilling by representative. That rep stands for Representative FI for some of you brothers that don't know. It stands for representative. Some of y'all confuse it for Republican. She is a Republican, but it's representative, just FI for you Akim out there. So y'all don't confuse people as well. But she is a Republican from New York. But she's also a representative, House of Representative member. But anyways, Trump's nominee to serve as UN ambassador, they argued that free speech protections were at play, which you're supposed to have that First Amendment, right? Protection. You're supposed to be able to, say what you want without getting arrested, basically. Or penalized in any way by the government. But anyways, let me keep reading. Y'all gonna figure out that, they didn't mean none of that shit. But anyways, hate speech generally is legal in the U.S., but the House, which they call it hate speech, keep that in mind, but the House GOP report released last month argues that federal law bars recipients of taxpayer funds from tolerating discrimination. So basically, they call it that discrimination. If you say stuff like peace sign from the river to the sea is gonna be free. Right now they're going after them. Well, hey, this is gonna set a legal precedent to go after other speech that they don't like. That's what it's gonna do. So speech like call out Yehovah from Yahushua, That's why brothers be saying y'all gotta get this truth, man. And the elect is gonna get it while it's hot, And the elect, is gonna get this truth. I'm gonna read it all the way on down, That famine of the word that's coming, man. Amos 8 and 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Most High Power, whose name is Yahweh, meaning he exists, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord, the words of Yahweh. Verse 12. And that's that in the Paleo Hebrew, He exists, the real Hebrew. But anyways, verse 12. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh. I'm going to say, in the name of his son Yahushua, Bahasham Yahushua, and shall not find it. Verse 13, in that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. Because it's going to be like Basically, you can't access it. Basically, it's illegal, to say stuff like that, Not only online, but in person. It's illegal. Verse 14, and it goes into what was going on back then, but even today, you know. You 2/3 swear by these same things, y'all. Stay committed, no matter what. Verse 14, they that swear by the sin of Samaria and that say thy God will then live it, the manner of Beersheba liveth, how they was, moving over there, even they shall fall and never rise up again, So yeah, man. And y'all look at it and say, well, that was back then. No. Yeah. Because reincarnation is real, and Ecclesiastes so it's speaking of, it's the same people doing the same shit. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9, all the way down to 11. The thing that hath been is that which shall be. That which is done is that which shall be done. And there's no new thing under the sun. Verse 10, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before us. Verse 11, there's no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, which those that shall come after. Which goes into, basically, you don't remember your past life. But, that's real, and, also the same things is being done as well, by the same people. Everyone is back in their law, including the prophets. Stand in that law. Everyone's back. Hey. So let's go to get that real quick, and then I'm going to continue on. Daniel 12 and 13. Hey, this even proves it. But go thou thy way to the end be, for thou shalt rest, and stand in thou shalt rest. That's what death is. And stand in the lot at the end of the days. Your lot, your role, basically. What was Daniel's role? A prophet. Let me keep reading. Federal courts also have found that non-citizens have fewer free speech rights. So they going after them first. The Supreme Court ruled in the landmark 1972 case, Kleindienst versus Mandel, that the government could refuse a visa to a Belgian narcissist, so legal precedents, after prior court cases affirmed the deportation of anarchists and communist non-citizens. That was a legal precedent, so they could move the way they're moving right now. Some of the best known instances of activism in support of, Hamas, what I'm saying, which, supposedly, according to them, massacred about 1,200, J to the O to the O to the ish residents of southern so-called state of Israel, occurred in D.C. when multiple protesters carried banners supporting the group, which they send their agent provocateurs in the fucking midst as well. It's what they do. As Israeli PM Bibi, not a Jew, addressed Congress in July. Zaid Mohammed Madawi, the 26-year-old president of the Richmond, Virginia chapter of American Muslims for Peace Stein, was arrested for allegedly climbing atop a monument near the Capitol and spray painting Hamas is coming, quote unquote. Trump's attempts to crack down on anti-ism, which when you look at it is, you know, what the small hats, is doing in the land. There's real anger at that as well. Some of it's organic as well. But you have shit being said, shit being done on the pro-Israeli side as well, you know. So it's both sides, but they're only talking about the Palestine protesters, They're only talking about them because they're biased for the small hats, because the small hats run America and basically run most of the world. They are the first of the nations. Let me get that. First of the nations. The Edomites of the tribe of Amalek. Who they are Semites, They are Semites. Shemites really. But not the right ones. Not the ones that Esau have I hated, Esau was a Shemite, So Amalek was a Shemite. But that's the wicked, man. Not all Shemites are good. Numbers 24 and 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. On top of the world, basically running things. Yeah, Trump's attempts to crack down on the anti-ism, including likely by withholding federal funds, comes on the heel of his orders to temporarily freeze federal aid and the distribution of pending federal grants, the latter of which was paused Tuesday by a federal judge in his first. Give me a second, man. Hold on. Pause. Stop, in fact.